Hello, today's lesson is a review of compositions, function composition, and transformations. If you feel that you understand these concepts fully, you do not need to watch the video. You can just go ahead and fill in the packet and check your responses. For those of you who would like a review, I'm going to go ahead and just work some of these examples. And again, you can check your answers with the key in the classroom. All right, well, this first video will be about function composition. And just as a reminder, function composition, the notation for that is we say f of g of x. So we can either use that little circle, f of g of x, or different notation means the same thing, or we can use f of g of x. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to use this one because that helps remember that we do g of x first because it's in parentheses. But the idea with function composition is that we always work and get an answer on the right-hand part first, and then we go ahead and plug that answer into the left-hand function. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of examples. So here's my f of x, and here is my g of x. Okay, steps. Excuse me. So I'm always going to start with the right-hand function. So I have g of -3. Remember, anything in parentheses here is going to be our x. So we take the g function and plug in -3. So absolute value, -3 minus 7 plus 2. Go ahead and solve that, and we get 12. If you're not sure, ask your partner. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking -3, and I just popped it into the function. We now take that answer and we plug it into f, the first function, so we want f of 12. Take your answer and plug it into f. So here we have x squared minus 5, so 12 squared minus 5. Let me just highlight that. That goes where the x is in our function, and 12 squared minus 5 is 139. All right, you can do B. Have a go. And C, we can also do function composition when we compose the same function. So again, we always start with the right-hand one, so g of -3. We already did that in part A, so I'm not going to go ahead and work it again. We already have the answer. And then we take that answer and we plug it into g. So we're going to do g again of 12. All right, so g is absolute value, so absolute value of 12 minus 7 plus 2. And when you calculate that, you get 7. I expect to see your work on here. Again, you take your answer and you plug it in as x. Okay, next piece. We can also do, we can also do this with functions. So let's go ahead and we have to find f of g of x. So we have f of x and we have g of x. So the first thing we're going to do is find g of x. Now we don't have any numbers to plug in, so I'm just going to copy it down. 3 minus 1/2 x squared. And we then take that answer and plug it into f. 3 minus 1/2 of x squared equals. So what am I doing here? I'm taking this whole answer and I'm going to put it right here where it says x in f. Okay, so this gives me 4 times 3 minus 1/2 x squared, and then minus 3. Okay, let's write this out so we don't make a mistake. I've missed out the squared sign, so sorry. Right, we have a squared here. First thing I would do is go ahead and take care of the parentheses. So you cannot distribute a squared when we have a plus or minus in the parentheses. So it will be 3 minus 1/2 x squared times 3 minus 1/2 x squared, and then we have minus 3. Go ahead and do FOIL. All right, you should know how to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the answer. I think you should be fine with this. If not, go ahead and ask your partner or the person behind you. Okay, so when you FOIL that, remember, first 2, outside 2, inner 2, last 2, multiply them all together and simplify, you end up with 9 minus 3x squared plus 1/4 of x to the power of 4 minus 3. And then we're just going to distribute the 4 and then combine like terms. I'm going to run out of space. Let me make this a bit smaller. So distribute the 4. So I have 36 minus 12x squared plus 4 times 1/4 is just x to the power of 4. And then I have my minus 3 on the end. So when you write your answer, make sure you put the highest degree term first. Remember, the highest degree is the one that has the highest power. So x to the power of 4 minus 12x squared. We combine 36 and minus 3. 33. So there's your answer. All right, so double check, make sure you are comfortable with this FOIL part. Okay, all right, let's take a look at, we can do the same thing, function composition in a table. So we have a table here, we have our two functions. We have here u of x, and then we also have v of x. And of course we have our x values. All right, v of 2, part A. So when x equals 2, remember in parentheses it's always our x value. So what is v of 2? Well, when x equals 2, we get 6. All right, we're now going to do composition. So the same idea here. So we take the second function first. So we find v of 2. How nice that we did that in the first place. So v of 2 equals 6. And then we take u of our answer. So u of 6 is 2. Okay, I think you can do C and D. I think you can probably, oh, let's do H though, perhaps that one looks a little bit more complicated. We have here, we're composing V 3 times. So I'm going to go ahead. We always start on the right and just work backwards. So I have V of 8. So 8, V of 8 is 2. Then I need to go ahead and take the second function from the right. So I need to do V of 2, put your answer in here. V of 2, we've already found that already, it is 6. And then we're finally going to do the last function. Again, it's V, and we put our answer in here. V of 6 is 4. All right, so our final answer is 4. Okay, I'd like you to work through C, D, E, the rest of them. I'm going to go ahead and just put the answers on here so you can check. I do expect to see your work though. So the answer to this one is 4, -8, 4, 2. This one is interesting because it ends up being undefined. If we don't have a value in our table, we cannot find a function value. So undefined. So check you understand why. When we do V of 4 and we get our answer, we get a number that's not in our table. So we cannot solve that one. All right, last little bit here is the MCQ. I want you to take a look and see if you can figure out which of these is the correct answer. So you have your composed function. So remember, we're taking g of x and popping it into f of x. I'll give you, pause the video, have a go so you can come up with the answer, then I'll give you the answer. All right, the answer is actually D. All right, take a look. These sometimes can be a bit tricky. So I definitely have a square root function of x minus 3 here. And then it looks like I have some kind of linear function. So I'm going to look for a function. Right, we have a square root function. So actually, if we think of that as being x, I can say 4x plus 2. So that gives me my two functions. If I plug this into here, then I get what I'm looking for, right? F of g of x or f of g of x. If you think, whoa, I'm not sure how to do that, you can go ahead and just do the composition of all 4 of the answers and pick the one that actually works. Okay, that's it for this.